Hey, we're here, Garage Boxing, Kevin Breen on the scene with Big John. He needs no introduction. This guy, you know who he is. So we're here at the Irvine Battle in the Ballroom, and we're going to see a mix of martial arts, mixed martial arts and boxing. It's an exciting night. And how do you feel to be a part of it? I mean,
I love it. Anytime you have good fights with good fighters, guys that are well matched. They don't have to be, far along in their career, but guys are just well matched. That's what's fun about fighting, and so I love doing it.
That's the homegrown thing that you like, and
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously you're at the top of the sport, and there's some big fights that are coming up. We've got in your sport. Who's going to fight Fedor, and it's like
Some unlucky fool, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Strike Force. In fact, they have a show in 2 days. I'll be going up to do that show, and Fedor is a guy that, in our sport, it's really unusual because in boxing, there's usually they want to get a guy into that range of about 20-0 before they start putting them against really top flight competition. And MMA is pretty much different in the fact that you can have some really hard fights early on in your career, and they don't look at the records quite the same. And the thing about Fedor that's so impressive is he really, if you look at his record, and if you look at he has one loss on his record, but that loss was to an illegal elbow that cut him. And because it was a tournament format where the fights went on that same night, they gave the win to his opponent in Japan when the opponent really didn't win. He went back, fought that person again, and really destroyed him. So he's really undefeated, which in our sport is really unheard of. And that's what makes him so special. And the way he conducts himself, the presence that he has, even though he's very quiet, he's very stoic, but when he fights, he brings a quickness to the heavyweight field in MMA that a lot of guys have a problem handling, because his game is very well-rounded, and he's not just a one-trick pony. He can do a lot of different things. And he hits with power. His grappling is good. He's just a very well-rounded fighter.
Yeah. Well, like you said, he's basically undefeated, and an exciting fighter. And that's why it's nice to see those fights. But then you like to get, here where you see it at the grassroots level, and I'm sure you saw a lot of that coming up, when you were making your way up through the sport. And
my way of waking up, I started kind of off going up and then doing smaller shows later, because that's what when I started out, it was the UFC and that's all there was. But this type of show right here, this is what fighting is all about. And it's great to be able to come to a show like this and see the guys who become the Fedors of the future, or the George St. Pierres, or the BJ Penns, to watch them when they were young and to watch and see them progress. That's what's fun. It's always good to be able to go back and say, I saw that guy, and if it was at Battle in the Ballroom or whatever it was, it's great to be able to see those guys early in their career, and then later on you see what they become.
Right. And then you have, like I said, the mix of mixed martial arts and boxing. Is that something you'd like to see more of, maybe?
I look at, and I try to tell everyone, I love MMA, I love boxing. And I don't care if it's, if you have a great boxing match, it's great to watch. You watch Manny Pacquiao versus, a Floyd Mayweather, if that comes up, hopefully that'll be a great fight. But when Manny Pacquiao fought Hatton, even though it was only 2 rounds, you look at what they did, that's a great fight. That's fun to watch. You watch him against a Cotto, that's a great fight. Great boxing is great to watch. Bad boxing sucks. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. It's the same with MMA. You have some MMA matches, guys are going after it, they're doing all kinds of things. It's phenomenal to watch. And when you get sometimes guys that neutralize each other, and it becomes, very slow.
It stops.
Well, it can at times, because guys are so good at neutralizing what the other guy's doing, and it sucks.
What about, do you feel like maybe you wish it could go on more than 3 rounds? I mean, it's more time,
It's MMA, it has been set up a certain way, and it's going to stay that way. But you look in, even the scoring that goes along with it, sometimes it's very difficult in MMA to do things. The rounds are long. 5 minutes when you're going and you're pushing against another human being, it does take a lot out of you. That's a 5-minute round. And so, there's elements that it's good that it's 5 minutes for the most part, because it gives guys time when they do go to the ground. It's hard to submit someone that knows what they're doing. And sometimes, it takes you time. But in a lot of ways, sometimes that extra rounds, if it was a 3-minute round, would work to the advantage of getting a clearer view of who's really winning the fight and things like that. But, it is what it is. And, whether it's MMA or boxing, as long as it's a good fight, that's what's important.
Yeah. And, you know, I saw an interesting MMA fight. Frank Mir had an impressive win this last weekend. And, you know, it made me think the way he boxed, you know, if he maybe, let's say he said, hey, I'm going to be a boxer. I want to challenge the Klitschko's. You don't think he
No, you know, the thing is with and this is where there are certain guys. I honestly thought when Anderson Silva said he wanted to fight Roy Jones. Anderson, if you put him in, I've seen him in boxing gyms and I've seen him go against really good boxers. He can box and he can do really well, and he's only gotten better in the last couple of years. And Roy was obviously on the tail side of his career, and so, you know, I'm not saying Anderson would have beaten him, but it would have been, you know, a pretty decent fight. If you took, you know, MMA is different, and the footwork of an MMA fighter, the stance of an MMA fighter has to be different than that of a boxer, and that's why you're going to get a different stand-up game. Although, and Frank Mir did a phenomenal job against Czech Congo. He used very good footwork, good angles, set the punches up, and hurt Congo and took him out of the fight with a nice guillotine. But if you were going to put him in the real world of boxing, boxing is part of what he does to train for MMA, but there's so many other elements that he has to train. He can't put that same amount of time that a boxer is putting in to that one element, and he's not prepared for a guy like a Klitschko. He's going to have a hard time getting in on a Klitschko. MMA guys work for a clinch, and they'll get underhooks. We want to get an underhook. Boxers want to get overhooks because you're going to keep them from being able to bring the hand up. Everything kind of works against an MMA guy going into boxing unless he's really going to get away from MMA for a while and just start studying, change his stance, change his footwork, change what he does in that ring, because all the things that he's trained over and over, they're going to happen automatically, and that can be a bad thing if you're going against a boxer in a boxing match, because a lot of them will work against you.
Right, yeah. This guy's got me all excited about the action tonight. We appreciate your time, man. You're like a living legend and a SoCal guy, and we're here again at Irvine at the Battle in the Ballroom. They got it going on all the time in MMA, boxing, whatever it is. It's here. Enjoy it. Go out and watch some fights, right?
Sounds good.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.